Hi everyone, it's Glenn from Seraph Team. Today, I'm going to show you how to make cool, crystal clear, bubble-free resin dioramas without actually using resin at all. To celebrate the release of Nightwalk, our most recent game, available here, we're going to place these small sculptures inside the jars and then surround them with a resin-like material. We used these sculptures to create the monsters in the game by taking high-quality photos of them and then editing them in Photoshop. So before we dive right in, what do you say we take a look at some of our monsters? I didn't plan any of these creatures out with a sketch or anything. I just sort of played with the clay haphazardly until I found a form that I enjoyed. One of the things I'm worried about this figure specifically is it has a lot of places for air bubbles to hide. So when we fill it up with the substance, the air bubbles might get trapped, and that's not something that we want. These forms are also very naturalistic. They have a lot of my fingerprints in them, these kind of strange pockmarks made with a sphere tool. I didn't really have any philosophy behind the design of them. The whole point was to make it so that you couldn't really tell what they are, and I think I achieved that fairly well. Here's the star of the show, always hunting you after nightfall finally sets in. And this last one is actually my favorite. I nicknamed him Wire Baby, and for those of you who know about the Wire Baby study, you can kind of get where that's from. Wire Baby was the one who was the most self-aware and existential about being stuck inside a video game, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to put them in jars. It's a running theme in the game of being trapped within your own reality, when you seek to be elsewhere, but your current lifestyle or even your physical location is limiting that, and then you realize that, and then it starts to hurt. Alright, now for the jars. I went to the container store and I bought these jars, and I got 4 of them. And it came out to like $50, and I could have just gotten 4 of them on Amazon for like a quarter of the price probably. So don't go to the container store, ever. And now for the main event, the reason why you clicked on this video. This is called Encase OK. It's a product that I never even heard of, despite being very familiar with Smooth On and their series of products. It's a highly transparent, slow cure time rubber that is perfect for what we want to do. From what I could gather, this was actually developed so old ladies can make flower dioramas. So this is why I didn't know it exists. This is old lady knowledge. Encase OK is a soft, clear silicone rubber that looks just like water when cured. It's ideal for encapsulating almost anything and making a variety of display effects. You can crumble cured rubber to simulate broken glass or ice. The pot life is 120 minutes, and the cure time is 16 hours. I did a quick test yesterday night by pouring it into a Dixie cup and seeing how it sort of reacted. One thing I will say, it's very soft, and you can actually break it. And when you do, it goes everywhere, and I'm going to be vacuuming this for the rest of the night. Because it's so soft, I highly recommend you only use it if your sculpture is going to be within a glass or some kind of receptacle. If you make a freestanding sculpture out of this, it will most likely get damaged right away. So now it's time to measure the inside of the jars, and unfortunately I couldn't find my normal straight metal ruler, so I have to use this weird protractor looking ass thing. That being said, it doesn't fit inside the jar, so here's how I did it. Just take yourself a pencil that you don't really like, stick it inside the jar, and then mark it with a razor. Then you measure the pencil, and you find out where the mark is, and that's exactly how deep your jar is. Now we're just going to sketch it out, and theoretically this is a 2-scale model of the jar, so now we just have to place Wire Baby in there and see how much distance we want from the top to the bottom, and we're good to go. So how do we make sure that the sculpture is in the right place in the jar? We're just going to get creative. So what we need is Wire Baby, some scrap wire, and a square marker. So first we're going to unravel some of this wire, and we're going to strip it. And I'm just going to let this complete insanity that you're about to witness play out. Just going to strip it off from the thing. I don't even care. You think I give a shit? Get her done. I'd also like to point out that I wasn't even using the actual wire stripper on the wire stripper. I was just using a part of the handle. Yeah! Oh. At times like this, I think of the wise words of my uncle. Glenn, stop being stupid. If only it were that easy. So first I started wrapping the armature wire securely around the marker, and then I formed a kind of hook at the bottom that I attached the sculpture to, and I just set them in the jar. So at first you can have this shaky shake action going on, but that eventually settled down. Also, I was able to very easily adjust the angle that the sculpture was sitting at because I used a dense, hard armature wire instead of a rope, for example. Now, before you dump the rubber in, I suggest you take a canned air or something like that and spritz the inside so all the dust comes out. I live in the dustiest environment in human history, and I don't have a canned air, so I'm just doing it anyway. So you're supposed to mix equal parts A, B, stir it thoroughly, and then dump it into whatever container you wanted to encapsulate in. I just eyeballed it, especially with these plastic cups with the ribs on it. Measurements become very easy, and also I was just having fun. I noticed that there were a lot of bubbles during the pour that almost immediately dissipated. Then there were some bubbles left on the surface, but once I picked up the jar and placed it somewhere else, those bubbles popped immediately. There were also some tiny bubbles and dust particles trapped deep within the rubber. And normally you wouldn't want this, but I thought it kind of gave it a nice depth, so I just didn't really care. Now for the rest of the figures. I filled each jar halfway first and let it cure. This was so that I could remove the armature wire that was holding the figure up. Even though the rubber is soft, it's still strong enough to keep the figure standing. Then I'd add the second half and the figure would be fully encapsulated. Once it was done curing, I went back and added the rest of the encapso to the wire baby sculpture, and unfortunately it was just under the amount we needed. This stuff is fairly expensive, but still comparable to a standard resin. Regardless, I'm very happy with the results. It's just about crystal clear. Besides some dust that's stuck inside the rubber, I think it's perfect. I am very easy to please. Once I get the next batch of encapso and I finish the sculptures, I'll be posting high-res images of them on our Instagram. I suggest you give us a follow if you want to see the finalized project. We also post updates on there, and it's a great way to connect to the rest of our social media and websites and whatever else we have. Thanks for watching, everybody. I got a very long list of video ideas that I want to pursue, and hopefully we'll be getting them out at a steady pace over the next few months. Thanks for watching, and have a good day.